All right, Midway Blitz, that is the phrase. It's a key part of the Trump administration's border enforcement effort, and it was launched in sanctuary state Illinois after Katie Abraham was killed in a car crash by an illegal immigrant, and now her father is backing that ICE operation. He wrote this in an op-ed: "We all share my daughter Katie's legacy, and her death must still mean something." And Katie's courageous dad, Joe Abraham, joins us now. Joe, thank you so much for being here. We are very, very sorry for your loss. What propelled you to want to write this piece in the Chicago Tribune?
Well, it really started with when DHS called and they had asked they'd like to honor Katie. And I had asked some questions. I just didn't want Katie's name to be used. And I, want to understand what was the plan behind that. And it was, looking at getting specific criminal aliens off the street. And Katie's not here to speak for herself. And I trust and I believe that she would have rejected the way she was killed. And she certainly wouldn't have wanted anyone else to be killed in that manner. So I was getting a lot of questions. I felt like I needed to sort of state why I felt Katie's name would be honored in this operation. It was just done so, when you think about what Illinois has done, and I don't really want to call them leaders, they sort of just rule us, so they're more our rulers, and they do whatever they want. So when they kick the side door open and open it up for anybody and anybody without any vetting or background checks or any audit process. Here's a guy who killed Katie, who was a Guatemalan national using a Mexican national alias, could have easily been vetted out of the system. So I just kept asking, what is the process? What are we doing on the front end? Because on the back end, I think it's time now to put some sanity into what was happening over the last 5 years, the neglect at the border. So I felt like this was something that would save lives, and Katie would be for that.
So this individual, he will serve 30 years in prison. He was drunk, and I know it just must hurt so much. And when you think about the opposition from some leaders, I want you to just listen to this from some Democratic leaders who are very much against Operation Midway Blitz.
They are taking police resources that should be in our neighborhoods, serving Chicagoans, and diverting them to deal with the chaos that they are causing. We need ICE out of our city.
Don't believe it when they tell you that they're busting the worst of the worst gangs or gang members. They're attacking peaceful neighborhoods and terrorizing kids.
The Operation Midway Blitz, illegal arrests, 3,000 plus since the beginning. When they talk that way about the operation, and you, as a lifelong Chicago resident, somebody who cared enough about his daughter and her passing to speak publicly, that was a difficult thing to do in the Chicago Tribune. It's not easy for you to be here today. When you hear them say that, what would you want to say in response?
I want to say, and again, being a lifelong Illinoisan, I kind of get what they're trying to do. You can easily work with some federal partners. Are you telling me leadership is because Donald Trump's in the White House, we're going to go 180 in everything? There's no area here for a compromise. There's no area to work with your federal law enforcement folks to sort of clean up the mess that happened over the last 5 years. And this is what I've been talking about in Illinois. If you have a front-end process, if you want to bring in new arrivals, and they certainly weren't all shipped in by Governor of Texas, as our folks say, you allowed just the unfettered illegal new arrivals without any vetting process or background checks. That's not okay. And it was always going to be a tough cleanup on the back end. So I believe that this is something they want in the streets. They want ICE in the communities. They can easily work with ICE where it doesn't have to look like this. I believe that they need this chaos. They want this chaos. It almost appears to me they want something like a 2020 so they could sort of beat down the ICE folks, the Trump administration, these type of things. I care about my daughter. My daughter's gone, and she was gone, and it wasn't a random killing. This was something that could have been prevented, and our rulers couldn't get that figured out, and that's That's disappointing. Not one of them has spoken to me about what that process was. That's all I was asking. Did you have a process? You allowed hundreds of thousands of new arrivals. Did you have any process, or was it just a free-for-all Wild West and, we'll handle it on the back end? Well, I'm going to live the rest of my life without my daughter. That was preventable. And I can only speak about Katie. There are probably hundreds, thousands that are dead. I've met so many, and it's unfortunate. I can only speak to my pain and grief. I can't speak to others. So it's just very difficult that Katie got a death sentence and our family has a life sentence.
I'm very sorry for your loss, Joe. I will say, in looking at those pictures, she has your eyes. She had a beautiful smile. She was a bright light in the world. I'm sorry that she's gone. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
I'm Steve Ducey.
I'm Brian Kilmeade.
And I'm Ainsley Earhart. And click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis.